She's a real pain in the... Welcome to the Pain in My Cast podcast with yours truly, Cassandra Jean. You guys, I am so excited that you're listening to my podcast. We are at almost 4,000 downloads, which is crazy. And this podcast is on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, my favorite. And I'm just so thankful for all of the downloads. If you can do me a favor and please rate and review the Pain in My Cast podcast, it means the world to me. It's always been a dream of mine to have a podcast, and unfortunate circumstances have made me go after my dreams harder than I ever would have thought. Another update for you guys, if you listen to the Dexter episode, guess who fucking texted me the other night when I was at the club? Dexter texted me at like 12 p.m. at night, asking where I was at, which I thought that insinuated like a booty call. Nope, that's not what that means, because why would he even want to hang out with me? Because he's a fucking whack job. Ignore my rant, but men are annoying to me right now. Last week, you guys listened to the first episode in this two-part series of Material Girls in the Mountains. Basically, I went on a girls' trip in the mountains in Colorado. We went to Denver, and we were supposed to go to Steamboat Springs, Keystone, whichever fucking one. I got them so mixed up. I only ever ended up in Denver. But shit went downhill on this trip. Last week, we ended where we had gotten on the plane as a group of girls. We had checked in at our hotels. We had tried to make the best of being in Denver, even though it seemed like everything closed at 9:30 p.m. We asked the locals where the cool clubs were. We finally found some 18 and up club that would let us in, and it was the scariest thing of my life. I feel like it was all heroin addicts in there. I felt so unsafe and like scared for my safety. It was triggering. So we're just gonna go right into it. We left the club, we were trying to get an Uber, and the trip continued. She's a real pain in the... Welcome to the Pain in My Cast podcast with yours truly, Cassandra Jean. So I feel like at this point, I myself was a little drunk or just a little out of it, but I feel like something was going on with Steph and the Uber driver where they were, they couldn't stop talking to each other, and it was just reiterating my fear that she was out of her mind. Like, I think she was giving him her number. It just was very bizarre. I don't think I had a hard time getting her in the car. I had a hard time getting her out of the car.
And the car didn't even move, okay? We had this, like, champagne gold 2011 Honda Civic pull up, right? Uber drivers here. We're like, oh, thank God, let's go back, right? But it's four of us. And so you'd think driver, passenger seat, three in the back. And unfortunately, the driver, and it's his car, so who are we to make decisions, was like, okay, you know what? Front seat's off limits. I'm going to put my manila folder here. Nobody can sit here. Like, move his stuff. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want any conflict. This is your car. This is your job. We can call another Uber. Steph was not having any of that. So it was this whole ruckus of, well, why don't you just move it? And at this point, you know what? I also agree theoretically with Steph and her claims. I agree that maybe we could just move the manila folder with like loose receipts in it to maybe the dash. But at the same time, it's like, that's his car. We can just call a new one. I don't think that we need any conflict. Like, we just want to get back safe. And that was a whole ordeal.
I forget about that too, because that was frustrating, because it's one of those things where I started realizing that Colorado COVID restrictions maybe were a little bit more, I don't know, intact than Texas's, because no one really cares here. And that guy obviously did not want anyone breathing in his front seat by him. So it's a different, sometimes I feel like with COVID, it's almost like culture shock when you go to a different state and they still have the restrictions in place.
Absolutely, I agree. And my thing is while I may not agree with what your motive is, while I may not agree with, hey, you know what, we don't have masks, we can't take you, or the Uber can't take us for XYZ LMNOP reasons, I'm not going to argue, you know, just
Right.
because my views differ from yours doesn't mean in this case scenario that either of us are quote unquote wrong. I'm not going to pull up stats from CDC, and I wouldn't pull for any reason. I'm not going to argue. It's your vehicle. You don't want me to sit next to you for what your master. I mean, I really don't think he understands how it actually works. But at the same time, that's not for me to point my finger and be like, fuck you. However, Steph did. And she got in
Yeah.
the car. And when you say trying to get her out, he was in P. The Honda Accord 2011 champagne color, that Prindle was in P still. We're still in the same location. I'm at the point where I see somebody with a bicycle and a cart on the back, and I'm like, should we just like hop in that thing? And that was a pain in the ass to get out. But finally, how we did this after, this is when things got fuzzy for me. Okay. We got back to the hotel. And when we got back, we got to the room. And as if we thought Steph couldn't be any more off the rails, lo and fucking behold, I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to explain what happened when we got back to the room. It gave me very much, it's like Britney Spears vibes.
Britney
She,
Spears, yeah.
Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, early 2000s, princess pop girl gone crazy, because Steph just like took off all her clothes and was like running around the room, putting her junk in my face, shaking her butt, doing the splits. And this is a 29-year-old woman who has 2 children. And as much as I love her and love her as a friend, I was like, I don't need your junk in my face. Like, it's a little, it's not, it's so tacky. Like, if I was her boyfriend, sure, but any other reason, no, thank you.
Exactly. And I mean, that's your perspective and relationship with Steph at this point. And I know we're really dogging on her and that comes to an end soon, but you know what? It's just fact stated at this point. So we're all back there. And I think it's important to note that this was like maybe hour 7 of me knowing her.
This is late though, too. Like, I feel like it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like, I feel like it was maybe 1 a.m. It was pretty late though when we got
Exactly.
back.
Kirkland brand Cinderella, I've got news for you. Clock's ticking, okay? It's going to turn back into a pumpkin soon, right? Because you're going to have to blow in that thing and you're still going. And while I always respect a hustle, doesn't sound like it with this conversation, but does a woman empowerment, right? But even then, this isn't like supporting people, understanding what their circumstances to the best extent that I can after knowing them for 30 minutes. Like, it's like, hey, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to consider the repercussions from that. But I didn't know her. So this is hour 7. And also it's like the room in my name. And which doesn't really matter because it wasn't super harmful. But picture a complete stranger. And this is your first impression of them, not even a day into it. And she's jumping from bed to bed like like the monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and forgot their breathalyzer and lost it. It's like exactly like that story. I don't think that's how it went when we were children, but that's exactly how it went while we were there. And it's just like this. In my eyes, I couldn't believe it because it doesn't matter how wasted you are. Why is your first, I guess, resort getting back there with strangers to be frolicking from one bed to another, butt naked, screaming, yelling? I'm like, okay, I'll just put on some Nicki Minaj, I
You know what
guess.
kills me though, Sabrina?
Hmm.
Is I've seen character like that from her before, right? Because like I said, she kind of flips a switch when she drinks.
Hmm.
What I didn't expect is Jen takes off some of her clothes and starts dancing too. And that's
Jen
when
in solidarity.
that's when I got very confused because I've already had a few tequila shots. I'm tripping on mushrooms and I'm sitting there going, is this real life? Like, is this really fucking happening? And I just started having like trauma, PTSD, like anxiety because I was like, what are these chicks doing? And my second thought was, how the fuck am I going to sleep?
Oh, we're not. And the thing of that, I mean, well, you're not. And the thing of that was, to me, outside observer looking in, I was just like, agreeing, is this real life? This is my fever dream. I have yellow fever right now. Call me Helen Keller. I don't want to see and I don't want to hear. Unfortunately, I'm not her. So here I am, stuck with yellow fever in this dystopian era we've got going on. And all I'm wondering is, why the fuck is this happening? Why is this going on? And so, whatever, if people want to have fun, all right, we got the water, we're trying to help out. I think Jen participated in that, knowing her personality throughout the trip, getting to know her in this, like, solidarity move. Like, all right, I don't want her to make a fool out of herself. I'm drunk, I'm having a good time. Let's play into it. Because she
Oh,
wasn't nearly doing acrobatics like this other
no,
one
no,
over
no.
here.
I was so like, dang, because she finally like let loose and was like, she was having fun,
Right.
where, my friend Steph, who's been my friend for a long time, I was looking at her like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Jen joined in. But from Jen's perspective, I was like, oh, she's just having fun because it was not on the same level.
No, not
Yeah.
even close. Not even close. No. Like, absolutely not. I think she was doing it. She's having a great time finally. She really, like we said this whole time, like, marched through this trip. She got us from point A to point B like a boss. She was really holding it together. She has it together. Denver or, back in Austin has it together, which I think is so admirable. I look up to her a lot because keep in mind, I'm the youngest one on this trip by a couple years. And I'm like looking around and I'm like, this is insane to me. And which is a recurring theme throughout the trip where I'm like, these people, they're grown. And this is what's happening. And why is the 23-year-old the one to question, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing that? But who am I to say anything? I just
Yeah.
met everyone. I'm not going to dictate. You want to jump from bed to bed. You want to throw your body around like spread eagle. Like, this is not hot yoga. This is not acro. This is the Kimpton. Okay. This is Hotel Monaco in Denver. Are
Yeah.
they going to sponsor us for that? Like, they should. And it's just like this crazy. And so then after that dies down, Cinderella's clock strikes 12 and, or almost there. And she gets concerned about where the court appointed breathalyzer's at. And I'm on the ground right now looking through one of my suitcases. I'm trying to get my pajamas on. Fuck the blazer at this point. Fuck the hoop earrings and gold chain. Okay. I'm not trying to be like a Snoop Dogg-esque bitch right now with the gold chain or 2 chains, whatever you will, make the comparison. Fuck the analogy. I'm trying to put a big shirt on and hit the hay. I'm tired. So I'm down there and Jen, is trying to comfort Steph during this time. We all are. And Steph's flipping out, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And, Jen made a comment where she was like, okay, well, the last time you had it was when you were laying on your side of the bed, which just so happened to be directly to my left. So maybe we look around there. I look directly to my left. Who would have thought? And there it is. The breathalyzer, the white breathalyzer next to the wooden dark chocolate brown bed with a barrier on it that was like maybe 3 inches deep. So it's not like anything's stuck under there. You can't even get into it. And that's when Steph really did take it upon herself to have a meltdown. So from your point of view, what did you think? Before I dive deep on this, like, what did you think?
Okay, so I think at some point when she was jumping back and forth between bed to bed, she stopped at my bed and started telling me, she was like, Cass, like, I really want to go home. And I didn't really understand. Like, I thought she was just saying that, because I get
Mhm.
homesick. I'm someone that's a homebody. And when she was doing that, I was like, like, we'll just go to sleep and we'll figure it out tomorrow. I was like, if we really want to go home tomorrow in the morning, like, I can change our flights easy. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, we'll figure it out in the morning.
Right.
And then I think she starts telling me, she's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go home. I'm having some guy buy me a flight, like, I'm going home. And that's when she starts panicking where her breathalyzer is, because she's already decided that she's going home, so she's gonna need all of her belongings, like her breathalyzer, to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it kind of got to a point where she was looking for it, and I don't know why, in her spun out kind of manic mood, she pinpointed that you were the person that hid it from her, which was clearly not the case, because I think you actually ended up being the one to help her find it.
Yes.
But I think she was having a moment with herself where she was upset. It was probably one of the first trips where she's left her children and not been with them. She wasn't happy. I'm sure she knew deep down that she overdrank and she just needed someone to lash out at. And I think that you were, I don't know why you were the target, but you were the target of her lashing out. Once she found the breathalyzer, she confirmed to me that she had indeed gotten another flight and was going to be going home pretty quickly there. And the thing that was really frustrating to me is that I had used all of my Southwest points for me and her to get there and to go back, because I just thought it was a nice thing for a friend to do. I had the points. But I'm a working woman. Like, I work hard for everything I have. I have a career. She's a mom. That's a career in itself, but she's never worked a day in her life. I don't even think she understands the concept of buying your own dinner. She's very used to, and I'm not, we just come from different worlds. This isn't me trying to rag on her.
No shame in the
She,
sugar baby game. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, not even that. Like, if she comes from family money, so it's like, she doesn't have to work, and that's okay. But if that's where you come from, at least respect that I have to work hard for myself and I don't have money to throw around, and something like my Southwest points is valuable to me. And then when she did get this ticket to go home, I told her, because I was having a hard time too. I'm a homebody. She was having a meltdown. It was giving me anxiety, PTSD. I've been through this before with her, so it was very overwhelming to me. I'm also tripping on mushrooms, which when I do them sometimes, it puts me in the weirdest headspace. So I just didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable. And when she said she was going home, I was like, fuck it, I'll go with you. If you're going to go home, I'll go too. Because I had wanted to go on this trip with my best friend, and that's not how it was working out to be. So I let her know. I was like, I'm going to go with you. And then she called an Uber and basically told, like, I don't even know how to explain this, Sabrina, because this is what, I love her and I will always be friends with her. But I have not talked to her since this trip because of the way she treated me from this. When she called the Uber to go home, she was already packed. And I told her, wait, I need to pack my stuff. I'll go with you. And she basically was like, fuck you. You can figure it out and call your own Uber. And she had a guy friend who I know, he's just a guy friend, buy her ticket to go home. I had to cough up another $300, lose all my Southwest points from her, and to get the flight at 8 a.m. that morning when we're up till 4 a.m. already. Team no sleep. I don't even know.
We are missing, and I can't believe that I skipped over this part. Between, the mental breakdown, her screaming at you, basically, you're just trying to be a good friend. And you were. You are,
Yeah.
and that goes without saying. So we don't even have to go on that train. Everybody knows that. Anyone who knows you knows that. But she's screaming at you and then telling you basically all this shit and looking at someone, keep in mind, 7 hours into, I'm like, who the hell are you to talk to someone like that? But before that, full circle back, to Denver and no food, establishments being open past 9:30. Steph, bitch was hungry. Bitch was hungry. And she was
Yes.
not taking no for an answer. And she was like, you know what? Fuck your kind bar. And I was like, all right, well, do you want any crackers? Like, there's other things. Then we could hold you over for a little bit. No. Off she goes by herself into downtown Denver alone. By, again, like I said before, 100 pounds soaking wet, 50 pounds of boobs. Downtown Denver alone. Full circle back, homeless epidemic. Not safe. In any urban area, doing that at that late hour, 2 in the morning, right? Not your best bet. Also, Yelp exists. Google place that might be open, but she's hammered, so she doesn't know. And everyone's like, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should just stay and eat the fucking kind bar, But off she went. And everybody at this point, there's a lot of tension even then. And I'm like, you know what, y'all? Like, no worries. I'll take one for the team. I got it. I'm like, okay, I'll have her send her location to me and I'll go retrieve this lone wolf. Okay. I'll go retrieve this sociopath walking around downtown Denver. So I go and I'm like, looking at Apple Maps, trying to like navigate my way to her location, just praying to God that she's there and alive, right? Just the safety thing. Maybe she grabbed a snack on the way, but unlikely given the circumstances. And finally, I'm like walking there. It's freezing, frigid cold. I'm like, you know what? Be a bad bitch. I changed into like this pink furry coat out of the blazer. I was like, you know what? I look like a prostitute. Maybe people won't fuck with me, or maybe they will. Maybe they will. And finally, I see her and I'm like, hey, long time, right? Hey, stranger, literally.
Did she
I'm like,
share her location or how did you find
mhm.
her?
She was sharing her
Okay.
location, and I was like, perfect. And even then,
Because I
when
told
you're
I
doing,
told her no. I told her not to leave the hotel room, but I
yeah,
cannot control a 29-year-old woman. Like I cannot.
right, right. But it's also like we were all, when she dipped out to go find her dollar menu cheeseburger at the time, whatever she wanted. I don't know what the fuck she eats, but she was like, I'm going. No way, shape, or form was she not going to make this journey into the frigid cold in a place where I guarantee you she doesn't know the streets. Okay. Nobody does. Because we're like, we thought we are going to ask in the first place. And we're like, oh, okay, fuck, we're in Denver. So, anyways, Jesus, and so she's walking around and I find her and I'm like, hey, like maybe we should just meander back to the hotel if we find somewhere on the way. We could just stop in. We're not going to, but you know what? Appeal to people. And I just want to make note, fuck Apple Maps too, because when you're driving wise, that's fine. Usually it doesn't mess you up too much. But when you are walking, that setting is made on the Apple Maps. You are Lewis and Clark.
Oh
You
God.
are Magellan. You are on your way. You're like, you know what? Westward expansion. Let's just see what's going on. Because it's like, take a left in 500 feet. First of all, I don't care how smart I think I am. Directionally, if you're telling me 500 feet, I'm like, where is that? I'm looking at street signs. It's 2 in the morning in the ghetto. I'm like, I can't even see, I'm like, all right, let's just try to navigate this back. And she just starts to get aggravated as we're going back. I call the front desk. This guy, massive muscles, yoked, asked my number on the way too. And I was like, all right, like this is cool. But then it was like, I was like, we don't know where we are, and preferably would like some assistance. So if we could just have kind of a tour guide. And I recognize that that's kind of off a rocker, but at the same time, what else are we gonna do? That to me was the easiest solution. And the guy was like, well, I'm really not supposed to do that because I'm not supposed to leave where I'm at. I'm like, listen, there's 2 of us and we don't know the area. Like, can you just, I feel like it would be kind of against your job to not do that. I mean, even as like a civic servant, like as a person, what the fuck, So, okay, hero comes along the way, finds us. She's not into that for whatever reason. She's not into the tour guide. So she decides to walk the other direction. I'm freezing cold and I've had enough. I'm like, you know what? You can do your walking Apple Maps and figure that out. And looking back at it, I feel bad. I was calling her name too. I was like, hey, can you just do this? Not giving me the time of day. She was really not having it with me. just walks off. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, you can lead a horse to water, right? So I get back to the hotel. Yeah.
Bizarre trying to talk to someone like that, and you're literally just trying to have their best interests, protect them, their safety, and them being mean to you while you're doing that. It's very bizarre. And
Right.
I mean, for me, I know her very well, and it's not character that would be displayed if there wasn't alcohol involved. And that's what's sad.
Absolutely. I see what you're saying because when we were at the airport and on the flight, and then when we got back there before, her timer ran out so she could go all willy-nilly, completely civilized, a good person. I was like, oh, okay, cool group. Okay. But it's like this person who barely knows you tries to go out and retrieve your dumbass, and which I would, yeah, completely stupid. And it's like, okay, so then finally we get back at the hotel. She gets there at the same time that I do. I'm like, okay, so he's a dumbass, but also I don't know how to navigate Apple Maps walking like she does. Okay, fair is fair. I'm like, so cool. We get back there, and after that, even that, I find the breathalyzer when she's looking for it in the obvious place that was pointed out by Jen. And I'm the one with the false accusations about hiding it. That was weird. And then I think from an outside observer, the reason why, which could be, I could be very wrong, but from what I saw, maybe she was just pitifully embarrassed by her behavior. I would be. It's like bringing your igloo ice chest with duct tape around the handle to Caesar's palace.
Yeah.
Aren't you embarrassed?
I mean, I feel like she has to be embarrassed by her behavior, and I think that has to be part of the reason why she wanted to flee the situation so quickly. So, I mean, that's what we did, and after I went through everything with that, I just wanted to go home, too. I was in, like, before I went on this trip with her, I had told her, look, I'm not having the best time with my mental health. I'm stressed about money. I don't want to waste money on this trip, and I kind of tried to back out while I still had time, and she's the one that said, no, let's still go on this trip. So it was very disheartening to tell your friend that you're having these issues, having these concerns, and then you spend the money on this trip, you spend the time, you take time off work, and then this is what happens, because a few of these girls don't even have careers or jobs or in school or doing things where you need to take time off, or I don't know, like I needed to take the time off from work. So then I took 3 days off of work that I just sat at home because I'd gone
That's money
home from the
lost.
trip. Yeah.
Exactly. And so keep in mind, while, there's this like great demise to go back, she's planning this. And as a great person, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to let you go alone. At this point, I've had enough. I've had it up to here. Completely reasonable. Any good friend, like I went to go walk out and get her, but then you went the extra mile, literally, miles, plural, hundreds of them, to go back. And all the money spent on it, everything like that, all the fun, all the preparation, all the Shein outfits. Like, it's just like, well, okay, that's not cool. And keep in mind, I wasn't planning on skiing or snowboarding, and neither were y'all. I didn't get any passes. I was trying to hang out with y'all before, during the trip. So it was like, okay, now what do I do? I'm not trying to make it
Yeah.
me, but I'm kind of like, okay, this is a sticky situation. We have seemed to run into a red light. Really, it's like, what do we do? I'm like, okay, I'll make the most of it, right?
Yeah.
So while she's calling 5 different Ubers to come get y'all or get herself or whatever to go to the airport again, I'm like, wow, this is a quick turnaround. I get a call from Allie, and she's with this other girl, Sarah. Okay. And they're at this point in Breckenridge. So Breckenridge to Denver is about, I want to say, a 2-hour drive or so. So this is going on as this plan of return is being kind of developed with Miss Wasty Pants over here, and then a great friend being you. And then and I get a call, and there was an altercation at this Airbnb in Breckenridge that they were at. And Jen and I were like, okay, so like, are they even okay to operate a vehicle? We're asking this, we're asking this, we're asking this, because don't do that. That's stupid, That's horrible. It doesn't even need to be explained why you shouldn't be doing that. And they, insist it's fine. It's like, Sarah's like, it's okay, whatever. And they get kicked out of their Airbnb. And while the two of y'all left, two came. And I was like, this is a lot. I went and bought a bottle of red wine and I was like, this is a lot. And they were about 5 minutes away from the hotel in Denver when y'all left. And I was like, all right. So nobody told them this was
Yeah,
happening. Nobody.
I didn't want to break the news, especially to Allie, because she's the one that planned the trip, and we were supposed to see them the next day when we drove to Steamboat to meet up with them. And then it just worked out where all of a sudden she and Sarah were coming to come stay with us in our hotel room, which would have been 6 people in 2 beds. So in a roundabout way, I'm glad that didn't happen.
It would have been a lot because also with that tension, they're bringing in the tension from Breckenridge. So it was just like, this would have been a lot. So I definitely agree with you. And also, I understand why you would feel uncomfortable sharing that because there was already like just this excessive amount of turmoil that was happening in that moment. If I were in your shoes, not just saying this, like if anybody in the right state of mind were in your shoes, they would agree. If they were sound of mind and they understood what was going on, they'd be like, you know what, can somebody else just help me out? Can somebody please just be like, this is what happened. No going back from this now. Get over it. So that's exactly what happened. I was like, hey, Allie, just want to let you know, we had 2 departures. But the good news is that there is a bed open for y'all. So, I mean, glass half full. You got kicked out of your Airbnb. Your options are limited. You're 5 minutes out. So thank me. Thank all of us for just having a little space, right? So I was just kind of like trying to like mellow it out. She's confused, but Allie's confused about just about everything. And so she was just having a difficult time grasping it. And, I understand. I get it from her point of view, like why she would have a difficult time understanding what was going on. She wasn't up to date.
Yeah. I think even
when
we were in the Uber on the way to the airport, I think she texted me like, hey, what's going on? And I texted her back and I was like, I just don't have emotional capacity to talk about this right now, but I will explain it later to you.
Which I think
I was done. I was so done. I was in the Uber on the way to the airport. I didn't want to deal with Steph anymore. I was done with Steph. I just dealt with her until my feet touched the ground in Austin. And then I knew I needed a break.
Bestie, you were at your limit. You were at your limit.
I was at my limit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and anybody who went through that would say the same thing. And so they get there, and this is after y'all left. So they get there, and another, case unfolds of just havoc. And keep in mind, Jen is just in her bed, just like what the fuck is going on? I'm looking at Jen and I'm like, Jen, we're in this together. Okay, bitch. Like we have a connection now. Okay, we're friends. This is like a bond that can't be broken.
Trauma bonded.
Yes, absolutely the best kind. No, so it's just like exactly trauma bonded. And they get there. I have little to no recollection of what happened. I guess Allie got in a fight with this other girl who, put her name on the Airbnb. The girl was like, get out of here. Allie ran into a snowbank at one point. Not her best move. I didn't know that until they got there. And I was like, okay, so we should probably edit that out. A snowbank.
I don't know
in the BMW. In the BMW X1. Exactly.
Oh. Why do we have to have BMWs and Mercedes as rental cars? Like, honestly, I'd be fine paying less for the Subaru. Like, I'm not even kidding. I don't care.
Hand me the fucking Camry.
Yeah.
Like, literally. Like, okay, the Subaru even better, like 4-wheel drive. Why do we have to flex on driving when nobody can fucking drive? Okay?
Facts.
Right? It's like, this is not ideal. This is unnecessary, but if that's the life that you want to proclaim to live, by all means. So whatever, I'm not going to argue that. So they get there, that happened. The next morning we wake up, we get brunch. Well, Jen and I get brunch. Sarah comes down, Allie comes down later on. We're all chilling. We have to go to Target for whatever reason. I'm like, you know what? It's around the corner. Let's do it. And then off we go to, I thought it was Keystone, so we called it, what was it? What did you call it? Where did we go?
Oh my God, I literally don't even know because this is what I keep doing. I'll call it Steamboat Springs and then I'll call it
Right.
Keystone because I actually don't know which one we are supposed to go to. So I'm just like, which one
Well,
is
yeah.
it? Which one are
Well,
we
I
supposed to go
mean,
to?
you didn't make it that far. You just do completely. I was there for the Snap geotag. I was there for the locations and the filters, and I was like, all right, I got Keystone here. But Steamboat, I saw that in the like Airbnb descriptions when we were planning. So to me, it's interchangeable. I'm not a
Yeah,
local. What do I know? If somebody wants to correct us on that, maybe make a comment or just shoot us an email, and I'll be sure never to get back to you. And it's
right.
like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going back. Done. So we get there, we get to the Airbnb, and this is the rest of the trip. And I don't know, do you want to know the rest of the kind of a scenario? We don't
Yeah,
have
I
to do
want
play by the way.
I want a synopsis, quick synopsis of the main points
Good.
that I missed. Like, was I smart that I went home? Was it a good trip? Did you
Yes.
enjoy yourselves? What
No.
happened?
No. Absolutely not. I envied you.
It's good I went home.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
You
bless.
planned ahead in my eyes. So, we're all there. We have a night. We go to this little village in Keystone and we go to this again with the Mexican food, right? I don't know why this is recurring, but I don't know the demographics there. So maybe that's their thing. But I also know good Mexican food and that ain't it. So I've got this like not that's Argentinian, but I've got this like southwestern bowl, right? I'm like, all right, this will have to do. And we're at the first restaurant, we have that, and we get back to the Airbnb. Lo and behold, Allie grabs the wrong key. There were two sets of keys. One set was for recreational use, like hot tubs and gym, whatever. The other set, for whatever reason, was for the unit itself. Very nice, extremely nice. I was blown away by it. I was like, kick ass planning, Allie, go girl. But what wasn't kick ass was the key pickup. But you know what? I didn't know, so I could have made the same mistake myself too. And we're locked out of the Airbnb for 2 hours. We're laying in the hallway outside of it. We're calling like help. Like, can somebody please help us? Of course, I don't know why. This is the last time I put anything on myself, trust me. But it was like, okay, I called somebody else because they're like, oh, Sabrina, you can talk to people, give this number a call, see if you can get anything done. Because at this point, the staff is like saying, okay, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour and a half goes by, 15 minutes. I'm like, does anybody know what the fuck 15 minutes is? Because this is not it. And I was like, I know that it's late at night. I understand it's an inconvenience, but at the same time, on the same token, if you have people for this, maybe send them over. And because I'm like, this is enough. I go outside. The woman on the phone with me is like, okay, there's a lockbox in the, main parking lot. I'm like, okay, first of all, there's two parking lots. Second of all, this place is like a maze, but you know what? I'm going to do my best. Immediately, I get out the front door, slip, eat it on the black ice. I was like, oh, she like heard me fall. And I was like, listen, I'm from Texas. This is not ideal. I understand that I have family elsewhere. I'm not giving her my family tree. I'm like, you know what? This is just beyond. And she's like, oh, I'm from Texas too. I'm like, oh, okay, bonding. So anyways, she's trying to like locate me to this lockbox, which takes like half an hour and it's failed mission. Like I didn't find it. I go back in, lo and behold, they're in the unit. Anybody want to tell me that? No text, no call, no nothing. I checked. And I was like, hey everybody, like how's it going? I'm like, you know what? Water off duck's back. I'm not gonna deal with that. That's the night one in Keystone, Steamboat, blow me. I don't even know. And so the next day comes around, it's like ski time. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get drunk in this village again, like whatever. I'm like having the time of my life, just making it by myself,
I have a
talking to
question.
her.
In this village, were there hot men? Because I'm telling you, from
No,
Denver, I expected mountain men. No?
no. I mean, in Denver, I would expect more than that. But then we're also in Keystone. You'd expect mountain men. Okay. And you'd expect like lumberjack chic,
Yeah.
right? They could really yield an axe.
Huh?
No, they could really yield an axe, maybe. No, no. You've got tourists, so you have people with thighs that are the size of your average toothpick. So that's out for me. Then you have people that look like that they don't shower or haven't in 10 months. And then you have people with like facial hair that is so out of the ordinary. You start to wonder, is that for fashion or is that for warmth? You're just
Wow.
questioning
Yeah.
everything about you and your civilization. You're questioning every decision you've made thus far. So I'm there and like I just meet up with them. That's cool. And, that day passes. Great. We can edit this out. It was kind of a shitty day. And then the next day, it's like, okay, time to go to Breckenridge. This is where it gets interesting. Let me put my wine glass down. We go to Breckenridge and and Allie tells us, myself, Sarah, and Jen, that, okay, everybody be ready by 7:15, 7:30.
In
No,
the morning?
actually, everybody, no, PM, because we're going to go to
Okay.
dinner. And she's like, everybody be ready for dinner by 7:05, 7:10, maybe 7:30. She's like, actually 7. All ready by 7, except for Allie, who took it upon herself to have another hour to curl her hair. Keep in mind, she and her TikTok account with 5 followers has this, okay, 10-minute hair curling tutorial. You'd think that she could kind of like hurry it up, And at this point, we're all ready for dinner. We're starving. And we're like, okay, we've got leftovers from the shit Mexican place from a couple nights before. Like, we're just going to do this, have a little snickety snack. And like, which is embarrassing. Like, you told everybody to be ready by X time and you're taking it's rude. And so finally we get in the Mercedes or rental and we're on our way to Breckenridge, about a 30-minute drive, 25, 30 minutes away. As we're driving there, whoever put Allie as a self-appointed driver, we're fucked, We're on this like narrow, windy road. And the second she finds out that, okay, well, the place we wanted to go to is going to close shortly after we arrive. Had you had been ready by the time that you made everybody else be ready, then okay, we would have been okay. We would have been fine. Everybody's tired at this point. We're sick of her shit. And she is like, okay, I'll call them. She calls the restaurant. They're like, well, the kitchen closes at like 9 or something, right? And so she's like, okay, I'll go be there on time. We'll be there on time. They're like, okay. Hauls ass. It's 30 on this narrow, dark road, windy as hell. And at this point, I'm nauseous in the back seat. Sarah's like holding my hand for dear life. Poor Jen is in the front seat, sacrificing it all just for what? A shitty sushi roll? Really? Where's a body of water near here? And I don't want anyone to correct me and be like, oh, well, there's this lake over here. No, like, where are you gonna come on? I don't think seafood. What is their food of choice? I don't know. I don't give a fuck. And so we get there, and Allie at the same time doesn't believe that kitchen's closed. Not for her. Not for her. And I have to, remind her, hey, can you just slow the fuck down a little bit? Kitchens do close. Those people have a life of their own. They're sick and tired of working all day long. They have families to get back to, and they want to go to bed.
Right.
They close. I promise. I promise you that. And while we're saying all of this to her, she's blatantly ignoring it because the Bluetooth or the aux cord wouldn't work in the super nice car that we had to rent. And she's playing music or trying to find a song on her phone and is deliberately yelling at everybody trying to get this aux to work. And we're like, dude, the car is in drive. Like, I don't think we can make this work. Do I look like I'm computer science to you? No.
Yeah.
So finally we get there, and for, whatever reason, I wish they didn't, but we were seated. And her extension, one of her bead-in extensions, comes loose. Never once in my life have I seen behavior like this. She went ahead and asked the waiter, who was so nice to us, right, for pliers. Pliers.
So
We
bizarre.
order. Yep, we
You're
order.
at a sushi restaurant asking for pliers.
Sushi Thai fusion. Yeah. Asking for pliers. For whatever reason, he finds some in whatever toolbox they have under the bar or whatever. Brings them to her. She goes, takes them for the rest of the dinner. And, at this point, the dinner closed off and they were putting chairs on the tables. This is embarrassing. She's still not out of the bathroom. She comes out, unsuccessful, misses the entire dinner, and then starts berating the 3 of us to help fix her bead extension with the pliers. At this point, we're getting basically like talked or I don't want to say yelled at, but sternly mentioned towards, right? That we've got to go. And then Sarah and I look at each other and we're like, this is so embarrassing. Like, let's leave. Allie comes up to me, wrong road, girl, take a detour. But she comes up to me, starts raising her voice at me to do her extension. And I have like massive like acrylic nails on. I don't have extensions myself. I don't have experience. I'm not doing this when they're like, leave, So I looked at her and I was like,
Yeah.
no. She's like, just do it, Serena. And I was like, no, Like, no. And so, Sarah and Jen and I expressed after that, I don't think that she even got the extension fixed, that we're tired. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Again with the yelling. Again with the yelling. Well, we're already here. We're already here. Let's go to the bars. And I'm kind of like, you know what? I see your point. How about we compromise? Let's go to one cool bar, get a drink there, and then go back. Like they want to go back. You want to go out. I'm trying to play Switzerland neutral. And it was just like, let's do that. Everybody agrees. We go to this one dive bar, which was just like, there's a banjo playing on aux. I'm like, does this one count? Like, no, I'm not trying to like side with anyone. I'm still trying to play new like Switzerland, but like also like y'all, like, do you think this one counts? We go to the next bar and we walk in, heads turn. I was like, oh, this is like cool. We're like famous here. And there's this group of guys there for a birthday, and they're from Dallas. So they say allegedly. Firefighters or whatever. And they tell us their occupation, and Allie looks at them and does bunny ears. It goes, so you're quote unquote firefighters. Which I think is a little bit rude. A little bit rude. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Did
you
like
have like,
funny like firefighters like
yes,
made the
to
little
them.
bunny ear?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. And they still stayed, and I was like, oh, fine. And then Sarah and Jen go to the back table in this bar, which was a pretty cool bar. And they're chilling because they're like, we just are tired. And I'm like, I get it. But I also don't want to leave Allie alone with this group of guys, which is a recurring thing for this story. And so, we're there. They're buying us all espresso martinis. We're having a good time, whatever. The other girls, they start to kind of open up towards it, have a good time too. But I still see like they're tired. They want to go home, They're like, we're done with this. It's been a long day. They were snowboarding all day, skiing all day. I get it, We went to your bar. We had enough. We want to leave. Next thing, so I go over to the girls. I'm talking to them. Allie's still over with this group of guys who are quote unquote bunny ear firefighters. She's just still talking to them, chatting it up, being a social butterfly, whatever. I turn around. We all turn around. And the next thing we see is Allie, again, 100 pounds soaking wet, having one of them in a literal chokehold in the middle of the bar.
What?
Yes,
Why?
WWE stuff. We don't know.
Joking?
It was joking. Yeah, it was like trying to be playful, but you could see like her arms though flexing. Like she was like, to her it was a joke, but she went overboard on it. And so it was like turned into fight night real quick, but they weren't like aggressive about it. They knew it was kidding, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing over there? She then says she gets invited out to go to another bar with them that was still open. I'm like, places are open here, but not Denver. This blows my mind. And she's not taking no for an answer. Like, she's like, I'm gonna go with a group of like 8 guys. And, I was talking to Jen, I was talking to Sarah about it, and I was like, y'all, like, I don't think that this my way or the highway attitude is gonna flip. I also don't think that she should be kind of flying solo. Like, this swan does not fly best solo, I promise you. You know, already drinking, just making a fool out of herself with this group of random guys. I think that's right. And I was like, but listen, I understand that y'all are tired. I respect that, and I respect y'all wholeheartedly. So if y'all want to go back, I can stay with this. Fine. I can handle. I can manage. I'm cool to have fun. They're like, okay, thanks. You really took one for the team there, Sabrina. And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to make the most of it. And off we go. And then I realized, then it hits me that they just took the car, and we're about half an hour away, and it's like midnight. So I guess we could call an Uber, which was like what I said first thing. No, we definitely didn't call an Uber because she just stayed out all night, and then she got invited back by the guy. Well, I guess we both did, but she was more inclined. I was like, okay, I'll fucking pay for the Uber, the Lyft, bitch. I don't care which one. I'm trying to. No,
Wait,
no.
so you guys had to stay with the guys?
I didn't sleep that entire night. Not the
Yeah.
entire night.
That's not so I'd be like, hell no.
Right. We go on a pilgrimage back to their Airbnb, which was not too far away, but I remember having to climb in heels up this icy ass hill, deep incline. Like I was just an Olympian. Okay. Like I was like huffing and puffing. I'm in a puffer jacket. I'm like overheating at this point. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is like, fuck your P90X. Like, fuck your CrossFit. This right here is the hardest hill I've had to do. This is a hill that I'm not willing to die on, but here I am. So we get there, we're staying overnight, they're playing music. It's a good group of guys, you know, I mean, like, they're nice, like, they weren't doing anything weird, they're respectful. I was like, I just don't know why we're here, but here we are. And I'm not sleeping because I still don't know them. I'm cautious, right? And so I'm like talking to one of them or two of them, and they have at this point in time, like I was dating this guy. They were well aware of that, and they were with these other two women that weren't pictured or they weren't there, and we're just talking. No big deal. I go in, I'm like, where is Allie? They're like, I think she might be over there. I open up the door, and she literally took over somebody's bed. I find her in a bunk bed, just chilling, literally just talking it
By
up, being
yourself?
social.
Oh
She
wait,
was
with a
there
guy.
with a guy next to her, but then like six guys around her, just
Okay.
talking. It
Just
wasn't
chatting.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, how's everyone doing in here? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the topic of conversation? What's this all happening? And it was pretty, I mean, whatever. It was kind of bizarre. But then it hit me. I was like, whose bed was this? Like, who was supposed to sleep here? I walk out back to the kitchen. Passing the kitchen, there's like this closed in outdoor shed area. And all I see was the first, not the only one, but the first CPAP machine stuck to this guy's head. And I realized that, you know, I'm 23. Why the fuck do these people have CPAP machines? Like, what is going on here? I saw one of those and I was like, okay, trying to find a bathroom, opens a door. Should have probably asked, whatever. Again, another guy, CPAP machine. Is that a
What?
firefighter thing? Yeah, that was weird. And so finally, like the morning comes, and one of them, and then his friend were like nice enough to drive us back to the Airbnb from Breckenridge back to Keystone. And I was like, get me the hell home. And then, you know, I was dating this guy at the time, and I'm so honest. You know, he had my location. I was texting him. I was like, oh, listen to this, right? We get back there in the morning and I FaceTime him. I'm like, oh my gosh, you'll never get this. I know that I was texting you. I know that you were asleep the whole night. Like, but like, I just wanted to keep you updated. If I were in your shoes, I'd want to be updated too. Like pictures, everything, completely honest. Breaks up with me right off the bat.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, he's not the
Y-
one because someone, I mean, that's so stupid.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it's no harm. If I did me a favor there, but it was like, I was trying to just help this
Oh
girl,
yeah,
you
no,
know?
you were way better of a friend than I would ever be because I don't put up with that shit. If I'm tired, I take my ass home.
Yeah.
You know, and like my friends, like a lot of even if you're drinking at this point, like you're the younger one in the group. I'm 27,
Mhm.
and if you know one of my girlfriends who's older in their 20s, I'm like, it's your choice. If you want to be stupid and go home with six guys, that's your choice you're making. If I want to be a grandma and go to bed, that's my choice I'm making. So it's
Right.
just really stupid. And I'm going to wrap it up here really quick. Are you ever going to go on a girls' trip again?
Yes.
You are.
Absolutely. I'm not going to let this one. I like to live by the phrase, you know, just because some people have bad moments, it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. Just because I had one bad experience, and it wasn't all that bad. I mean, I can complain about it and I can sip my wine and call it unhappy hour all day long, but I still had fun, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
I
I
still
mean,
had, it was a new experience.
look at all the things we get to talk about, you know, and that's like sometimes that's the best memories is just laughing
Right.
at things that happened when you were on a trip or a past experience. And I think like for me personally, like it did kind of scare me away from girls trips, but it also like it made me question my relationship with some of the women that I have.
Hmm.
And, you know, for a second, I was going for quantity. I just wanted a shit ton of girlfriends. And now I'm like, screw it. I'm back to quality. I'm happy if I have two super close girlfriends.
And I mean, still to this day, I mean, like, look at us now too. We're still doing this, and that I'm super grateful for that relationship. Jen and I super close. Allie, she's off a rocker, but I still care about her. Sarah, she's amazing. Steph, yeah, nope. Honestly,
I mean,
absolutely fucking not.
I've been friends with her for a long time and I love her and I don't want to bash any of
Hmm.
these women because they're all great women. It's just,
Yeah,
you know, certain times in friendships, if someone's not taking care of themselves or working on themselves, it's better just to take a step back and, you know, do your own
absolutely.
thing. So
Yeah, it's harmless to put yourself first, especially in those scenarios. You should do that. That's really healthy. And I think anybody listening to this can learn a lot from that. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care includes who you surround yourself with. It's not just your hair, your nails, your spa treatment. It's your mental state, and it's who you surround yourself with. And I think that's a huge thing that people could learn from, kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. Like, that is for real the truth. And that's something that people should, of course, live by. But a lot of people feel guilty over that. And I think what you did, especially, taught me a lot, especially being the younger one, looking up to everybody and learning from that. I'm like, you know what? Like, that makes so much sense. But as far as your question goes, would I go on another one? Absolutely. If you wanted to go on a girls trip with me, we could, tag on Jen, tag on Sarah. I'm game. Tulum, let's go. But
yeah.
if you had me, go on the same trip with the exact same group of girls, I mean, leaving two of them out openly, no. I mean, I'm not gonna do that based on that happened, because it was a lot of telling signs. But I would still do it, because I'm not gonna knock everybody out because of that. But I do agree with you on being weary. And I think that's a huge point and something that everybody can learn from. Just being skeptical. It's okay to be skeptical. It's okay. It's important to keep your circle small and have that true few. So while I would definitely go on a girls' trip again, what you say, you make extremely valid points that I think everybody could learn from.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, I'll look back on it and laugh for a while. So it was a good experience, and I'm so glad I got to meet you. And I don't know if you can pimp yourself out on any platforms, or if you're just going to stay the kind of secret that you are of Sabrina. But if you want to share your Twitter or anything, yes, no, or are we staying the
Absolutely.
mystery? Okay, pimp yourself out. Where can
I
people
mean,
find you on social media? Because it's obviously not Instagram.
if you want to find me on social media, definitely hit up my Twitter. Personally, I laugh at it. I look at my feed all the time and I'm like, wow, you're a funny bitch. Maybe people agree or maybe they don't agree. Maybe my 120 followers or 160 followers would say the same. I don't know, maybe. But on Twitter, it's at _ Sabrina, Sabrina, Holmes, Holmes. So again, _ Sabrina, Holmes. Hit me up on that if you want a good laugh, or if you want to just complain about anything, if you want to join my unhappy hour.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I will put your Twitter handle in the show notes. And thank you so much for coming on and talking about our Material Girl in the Mountain experience. So love you, and thanks so much. And hopefully come back. Like, I would love to do another episode with you.
Oh, absolutely. Count on that. And, Cass, thank you so much for having me on Pain in My Cass. You are, in fact, not a pain in my Cass, but I love
Depends
it.
on the
Thank you
day.
for having me. I love it. Oh my gosh, yeah. But it's like, hey, thank you so much. I had a blast. I hope that a lot of people can learn from this and grow from this and laugh at this with us. But I'll see you soon. And thank you. I love you.
Awesome. Love you. Kisses. Bye.
Bye.